before we get out there, I do need everybody fully seated throughout the trip. It gets bumpy, and I don't want you falling over, falling out, or getting hurt. If you have children, they're welcome to sit on your lap, or even toward the outside of the row. Either way, they just have to be seated. So parents, supervise your children. Children, supervise your parents. You know how crazy your parents can get. And last but not least, as we drive through the reserve, have fun. Get excited, take photos, talk to each other. Just don't try to talk to the animals. I mean, like, you can say hi and stuff. Just don't yell, shout, whistle, make clicking, kissing, or snapping noises toward the creatures. Might seem harmless to try and get their attention for a photo, but the problem is that's disturbing to the wildlife, and it's obnoxious. But I think that pretty much covers it. So now that we're getting the all clear, we're going to go ahead and head on into the reserve, see what kind of animals we can find. We're going to begin our adventure here in the Ituri Forest. Animals that live here in the forest can be a bit timid, a bit reclusive. They might not get very close to us at first. So as we drive through here, I'll do my best to point out what I see, but you'll want to be on the lookout as well. Oh, there's no copy over there. Out to the right, up on top of the hill. It's got white striped legs and a velvety red-brown coat. Now, don't be fooled by the okapi. Despite those stripes, the okapi is the only known living relative to the giraffe. It's also such a shy creature, such a rare animal that while locals had known about it for many generations, the Western world thought it was a purely mythical creature all the way up until 1901. Thought I might have also seen a small antelope hiding back there with a yellow stripe of hair down its back. It's called the yellow-backed diker. When frightened, it'll dive into the underbrush, emitting a piercing whistle, alerting other antelope and other animals in the area they're being chased. However, they are nocturnal, so it can be a little bit tricky to see them. So instead, we'll focus up here in front of us on the antelope up on the hillside, and the the black rhino over there in the sunlight. Now, the greater kudu is the light tan antelope here on the right. The greater kudu are the tallest antelope here in the forest. Right next to them, the bongo, the copper-colored antelope, called the ghosts of the forest because of how rare they are. There's out to our left, there's another black rhinoceros, quite a bit further away from us, not quite the best view of it. So we'll get closer to this rhino here in the sun. Up on our left, top of the hill. Generally, the black rhino is a very solitary creature, preferring to live by themselves. But at watering holes like this, they're bound to be a little bit more social. Black rhino has a pointed lip, allowing the animal to eat leaves off of bushes and trees a little bit easier. And we're getting another look at the kudu and the bongo here on the right. Again, the kudu is the light tan antelope, the bongo are the copper-colored. Now down here to the right, see them? The sloping horns. Those horns allow the bongo to dive quickly through the underbrush. Because of their natural backward slope, it stops them from getting tangled on branches or bushes that they might have to run past. A few more bongo coming up on our left, as well as a couple saddle-billed stork. Saddle-billed stork are backed by the bamboo over there. Black and white feathered birds with long orange bills. They're easily 5 feet tall. They're very quiet. They only communicate by rattling their bills, and they only do so when there are other storks in the area to rattle their bills with. Now we are moving along though. We're actually headed deeper into the woods over toward the Safi River Valley. Safi River is home to an entire bloated hippopotamus, and any habitat that can support the hippo can also support pelicans, cormorants, and crocodiles. So keep your eyes out for those as well, especially hippos. Can be a little tricky to see. They spend most of their day in and under the water to stay cool. Oh, like those ones up ahead of us, coming up on our right. A couple of hippopotamus here. Now, despite their great size, hippos are surprisingly graceful in the water. It's probably how they got the name hippopotamus. In Greek, the name means river horse. There's also a few hippos out to our left here. It's actually because of these hippos that other animals can live here in the river. Hippos will eat lots of vegetation, they'll return to the water, and leave their droppings all over the place. This attracts bugs and fish, which are eaten by birds and other animals, so it creates an entire ecosystem, just because the hippos decided they wanted to sleep here. Now the pelicans here on our left are pink-backed pelicans. They are the smallest pelican species. They're also the only ones known to make nests in trees. That's why, even though these trees have been broken apart for quite some time, the pelicans still enjoy making their nests here. Now, as we round the corner, just keep your eyes peeled down to the left. There might be a few more animals down there that I may not be able to point out. In fact, I think I see a few more hippos down here. including a baby hippo. That baby hippo isn't quite a year old yet. She's got a few more months before that happens. But you can see that she's already fairly independent. She's a little adventurous. She likes to hang out by herself sometimes. Now, back to our left, I see some Nile crocodiles. If I were that vulture, I probably wouldn't be hanging out so close to them. The Nile crocodile grows 15 to 20 feet in length. They live to be about 45 years old in the wild, and in captivity, they can live to be over 85 years old. So these crocodiles might very well be lurking in the Safi River for the better part of a century. Now, I love crocodiles, but I'm nowhere near as adventurous as that vulture was, so we're going to go ahead and give him some space. We're going to leave the Safi River behind us, and I'm going to take you out toward the savannah. The wide open plains are home to a large variety of animals, like elephants and giraffe, and other large migratory herds, like wildebeest, antelope, and zebra. Our wardens also reported seeing an increase in predator activity along this section of the reserve, most notably a painted dog, also called the African wild dog or the painted wolf. So if we're lucky, we might just find a few of those predators prowling about the plains. Here we are, approaching the Serengeti grasslands. They stretch for hundreds of miles and are home to millions of animals that travel across these plains every year. This right here is the wild Africa we're trying very hard to conserve. Truly, one of the last wild places left on Earth. Now, from where I'm sitting, I already see quite a few animals out here, including some zebra, some sable antelope, some giraffe, some wildebeest. But we'll start on the far right and I'll work our way up back out. On the far right are some wildebeest back over by the trees. Gray antelope with dark faces and short, sharp curved horns on their head. Despite their name literally translating to wild beast, they're actually pretty docile. The zebra there, that's a Hartman's mountain zebra, the least territorial zebra species. While other zebra might bite, bully, and kick animals to make them leave their territories, those ones there really don't mind too much. As long as they don't feel frightened or threatened, they'll travel great distances alongside many animals. Now the giraffe over here off to the right are some of the tallest land animals alive. Giraffes stand 16 to 20 feet tall. Spend a good 20 hours a day eating, and a giraffe only needs maybe 30 minutes of rest a day. They don't even sleep for 30 minutes at a time. They sleep for 5 minutes, wake up, eat more food, and then go back to sleep later. Might explain why this giraffe is very eager to eat the snacks that our warden is leaving behind. I see some painted dogs. They're back on the left, back in the sunlight beyond the rocky den. Now don't be fooled by the painted dogs. While they might look cute and cuddly and fluffy and adorable, especially while they're napping, they are also the most successful predator of mammals in Africa, chasing their prey till their prey drops from exhaustion and can't run any further. That's what makes them so successful. They don't have to outrun their prey, they just have to outlast them. Saw a couple more zebra back to the left, hiding behind the trees there. We're getting closer to a herd of sable antelope. Now, sables are fiercely protective of their families. In fact, they've been known to drive away predators as large as lions from their homes. Which is why we chose them as the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, because of that protective nature. Like they protect each other, we want to protect the animals out here as well. That's why wildlife reserves like this have been created across the world. Very glad to get close to them. They can be a little bit territorial, so generally they don't like getting too close to us, but up close you can see their beautiful dark coats, which get darker as they get older, and darker the more dominant the antelope is. But we'll go ahead, give him some space. We'll continue along back out toward the fields.
Do you want to protect them too? That's the feeder. Isn't that wonderful? They want to take care of them and protect them.
Now up ahead of us out in the fields, I see some springbok. out there. They're very small antelope with white bellies and tan backs and a dark stripe down their side. We call them springbok because they can spring up in the air 6 feet up and 13 feet forward in a single jump. Not only that, but they can run 50 to 60 miles an hour, and because they jump in zigzag as they run, they can evade animals as fast as the cheetah. Also out here, a much larger antelope, the Patterson's eland. Coming up on our right, it's a large gray kind of tan antelope over there. They're among the largest antelope in Africa. A fully grown male, standing 6 feet tall at the shoulder and weighing close to 2,000 pounds. Not only that, but they can jump as high as a springbok can, 6 feet up. Which means if they wanted to, either one of those antelope could jump into this vehicle. I mean, they won't, but they could. Which is pretty impressive for both of them. Now, another few giraffe up in front of us here. Now, the giraffe we've seen today are all Maasai giraffe, named after the Masai Mara area here in Kenya, where they're originally found. And while all of their spots might look very similar to you and I because they are part of the same family and the same species, none of their giraffe are going to be exactly alike. All of their spots are going to be as different as our own fingerprints, and that's how they tell each other apart. Kind of like a body length QR code. Or what they're looking at. From their very tall vantage point, with their very keen eyesight, they can see great distances and generally have a better view of the savannah than most animals out here. So if a giraffe starts running, many of the other animals are going to be wary as well. But we're going to keep our safari moving over toward an area that I like to call Pachyderm Point because of the elephants that have been migrating through here. With any luck, we'll get to see some of those elephants, or at least find out where they're traveling next. They're large, powerful beasts, generally clearing wide trails wherever they travel. Ah, there's one up ahead of us, just beyond the trees. They'll be coming up on our right here in a moment. Ah, and I see some mandrills here on our left. Biggest monkeys in the world. Mandrills have bright blue and red faces and very colorful rears, which get more excited. Which get brighter the more excited the mandrills get. There's also the bull elephant out on our right, fully grown male. They tend to be solitary creatures. Now normally we're supposed to take a left here, but I don't want to pass up a great view of an elephant like this, so we're going to go ahead and stick over to the right here, even though technically both of the roads over here are closed. This road's closed for obvious reasons. There's not a road there anymore. But while you're getting a great view of a fully grown bull elephant, I can explain why we probably shouldn't be going this way either. You see, the workers claim the bridge of it is cursed. They say every time a safari truck like this one drives across the bridge, falls apart, and then it'll refill itself to look like nothing ever happened. So much of another victim, but I don't believe in ghost stories, so we're going to cross it anyway. Besides, this bridge looks safe. What's the worst that could possibly happen? Told you it was safe. Anyways, looks like we're approaching some red clay pits here. Elephants love to eat red clay. Gives them a lot of vitamins and minerals they might not get elsewhere in their diet. I'm actually seeing quite a few fresh tusk marks here, and I think I can make out some footprints leading off to the left. Oh, actually, there are some elephants there just on the other side of the ridge. It's going to be a little tricky to see them, but I'll try and get us a bit closer. Now, a herd of elephants like this is going to consist mostly of adult females and their children. They'll be led by the matriarch. She'll be the largest, oldest, and wisest of the females. Takes her family across the savannah year after year, teaching all the young elephants everything they need to know about survival. Where to find food, water, how to stay cool when it gets hot, how to avoid predators whenever possible. Now, elephants are very large, very unique animals. They have a very impressive trunk. That trunk has over 40,000 muscles in it. It's strong enough to uproot small trees and gentle enough to pick up potato chips without breaking them.
Well, I heard it said.
Now, up in front of us, coming up on our left, are some greater flamingos, some of the biggest flamingos in the world. If you see them with their neck on their back and a leg up in the air, that really is how they sleep. See them with their face in the water, upside down, bobbing back and forth. That's how they filter feed for the shrimp they eat. And a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. So we're looking at a fluffy feathered flamboyance of fabulous flamingos. Now, it is true they get that pink color from the beta-carotene found in the shrimp they eat. Takes them about 2 years of eating brine shrimp to turn pink, which is why some of the baby flamingos on the island still have gray feathers, despite being almost their adult size. Now we're approaching one of my favorite areas, large and powerful, but as you can see, they're not the only animals over here. In front of us, coming up on our left, is a trio of ostrich. Ostrich are among the biggest birds in the world. Stand over 9 feet tall, have a wingspan of about maybe 5 or 6 feet across. Though, truth be told, despite being a very large bird, they are flightless. They use their wings mostly to change direction while running and to show off to potential mates. And on our right, some water buck. And on our left, a cheetah. Now, water buck like to live in areas with plenty of water. If frightened, they'll dive into the water to avoid predators. They drink more water than most antelope. The cheetah on our left is among the fastest land mammals alive. They can sprint at speeds of well over 60 miles an hour. Though they are sprinters, not long-distance runners. They can only hold their top speed for a couple hundred yards. After that, they get awfully tired and have to cool down. Cheetahs tend to chase small prey, like gazelles and warthogs, animals they know they can overpower quickly. They also try to avoid hunting during the day so they can avoid larger, stronger predators like lions and hyenas, which might easily steal the cheetah's food from them given the chance. Now we're also approaching a Kopi rock. Lions like to live up here. Gives them a great view across the savannah. In fact, I see one in front of us. He's coming up on our left here in just a moment.
There he is. Wow. Whoa, I've never seen a lion. It's a male. It is a male. I did, and I got my wish.
It's pretty rough. Yeah, I don't
know. I think he's watching the family of white rhinos out to the right.
Oh, yeah, look. About 5.
Looking at him. That is so cool. Oh my God. For the photo. I think he's gonna eat.
Now there's a male lion here near the edge of the rocks. There's a couple females a little bit further along. They're up by the tall grass a bit higher up on the rocks here. Lions are among the most ferocious predators in Africa. Running 35 miles an hour, they can leap over 20 feet with a running start, and a lion's roar can be heard from over 5 miles away. One of the only big cats known to hunt in groups. Now here in front of us, coming up on our left, are some warthogs. Warthogs grow to be some of the largest burrowing animals in Africa. They use their tusks and hooves to dig out these burrows, and should they become frightened, they'll back into the burrows they dig. That way whatever's chasing them has to deal with their razor-sharp tusks first. Now we're going to get another look at the white rhinoceros. If you look very closely, we might be able to see a couple babies with them. Back over by the trees there, you can see him. When fully grown, a white rhino will weigh over 5,000 pounds and can run as fast as a lion can, about 35 miles an hour. That's why they have little to no natural predators. Most animals know not to mess with a rhino. Now, I know a few of you have been out here on safaris with us before, but if you were here on the reserve a little over a decade ago, you might remember the area up ahead of us has had a very interesting history. For the longest time, we had almost daily encounters with poachers over here, or after the elephants, big red, middle red for their ivory tusks. Thankfully, we saved the elephants, ran the poachers away. Shortly after, we saw zebra, addax, and oryx migrating through here. But these days, the most we're going to see is our warden's house. They have chosen to live here at the edge of the reserve as it keeps them close to anything that might need their attention. This also marks the edge of the village of Harambe. Now, our warden has decided to raise a herd of Nigerian dwarf goats. In fact, I see quite a few of them coming up on our left. One back up on the hill and a few in front of the house. These small, adorable animals are great pets to have out here, as the Nigerian dwarf goat loves to climb up on top of things, and they like to butt heads with each other. They also like to eat a lot of underbrush that other animals avoid, and they provide nutritious milk for the village. Now, some people, though, see us raising these small, adorable, domesticated creatures so close to wild animals like the lion and the rhino and find it a little odd, a little jarring. But this is actually a very common sight, not only here, but around the world. We humans and our domesticated friends are living closer and closer to wild animals every single day. In fact, you might remember a time you got to see some wild animals close to your own homes, like birds or critters, or maybe even larger animals, depending on where you live. Well, no matter the animal, some of the best ways to help protect creatures we care about are just by learning more about them and sharing that information with others. The more we understand about the wild world we inhabit, the better prepared we can be to protect it in the future. Right now, though, we are nearing the edge of the reserve, and that means we're nearing the end of our safari. I've had a wonderful time with you, and I hope you've had a wonderful time too, because here on Kilimanjaro Safaris, we like to go wild. Always feel free to visit again, though. No two safaris are ever the same. The animals make sure of that. And a different driver can always tell you different things about these animals. Of course, my name is Larry. Asante Sana, thanks for joining me here today. And here in Harambe, we say Kwaherini, as Kwaherini means to go well. Hope you have an adventure wherever your travels take you next. Now's a great chance to check your seats, though. Please make sure you have everything and everyone you've been traveling with. Got a little puppy out there, don't want to leave anybody behind. Now, if you're interested in seeing more animals, I highly recommend heading right up the hill from here, over toward the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. Over there you can see animals like the okapi, the meerkat, naked mole rat, maybe even a family of western lowlands gorillas or a herd of Grevy's zebra. It's a beautiful trail, and it's stroller, scooter, and wheelchair accessible. So if you have any of those vehicles, you're welcome to keep them with you.